All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is now 2 p.m. I am Judge Melanie Williams, and this is the State Expedited Accusations calendar. This calendar is for those individuals who've been recently arrested, but the cases have already been formally accused by the Solicitor General and bound over to state court. All participants, this particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's being recorded. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Though anything you say can and will be used against you, and you also have the right to an attorney here today. Those who receive a signature bond today will be reset for the notice, and those who receive a surety or cash bond will be reset to the state all-purpose calendar. Ms. Bridgewater, what is my state all-purpose reset date?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. It's going to be October the 20th.
All right, those will be reset to October the 20th if you receive a surety or a cash bond today. Are there any announcements from the jail regarding medical resets?
Your
No,
Honor.
Judge.
Yes.
Your
Just need a
Honor,
Spanish interpreter.
I'm sorry.
We just need a Spanish interpreter for position number 4.
I don't believe we have one today. Ms. Bridgewater, are you aware whether or not we do or can get one? Mr. Jordan, is that possible?
She'll be logging on shortly, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Gant, I believe you were sounding, you're asking for a breakout.
that was my announcement, Your Honor, regarding the need for an interpreter for position 4.
And I'm assuming you have not had the opportunity to interview your client either.
No, Your Honor.
I was hoping for a speedier Saturday, but here we are. All right, who do we have first at the jail?
Position number 8, please.
All right, are you Deanna Trucker? Ms. Trucker, your case is 22 CR 006754F, in which you're charged with battery with the offense date of October the 7th of 2022. Do you understand those rights I just explained? All right. Ms. Roberts, can I have that history, please?
First arrest.
All right, thank you. All right,
Recommended.
Ms. Harmon, good to see you this afternoon.
Good
What
to
is
see
the
you.
state's recommendation?
Good to see you as well, Your Honor. As you stated, this was a 10-7 recent incident. The location is 2521 Piedmont Road Northeast in Atlanta. And the victim in the case, I'll spell her name for the record, it's a long spelling, FALANDANE apostrophe JAH, last name Miles, common spelling. Your Honor, this was a battery incident. The officers were dispatched to that location. They did observe an injury to Miss Miles' forearm. She was bleeding profusely from her forearm. And on scene, the defendant did admit to injuring the victim. She repeatedly stated that she did inflict the injury to the victim. Your Honor, pretrial correctly cited that this is one cycle of arrest. This is her first arrest. Our recommendation in light of the circumstances and that we believe that she is a danger to the victim is a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, to stay away from the incident location, and a 1-day anger awareness course. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. I'm going to sound for Ms. Miles at this time. Ms. Miles, if you're present on the Zoom conference and wish to be heard, this is your opportunity to speak. All right, hearing and seeing none, I believe we'll go to the defense. Who represents Ms. Trucker? Is it you, Ms. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good afternoon. Good to see you, Ms. Cook. Please give me the defense's recommendation.
Your Honor, we will be asking for an unsecured judicial release. Ms. Tucker is 20 years old. She's been in Georgia all of her life. She just recently graduated from high school in May of this year. Like the pretrial said, she doesn't have a criminal history. It's my understanding that the incident location is her and her mom's address, and that the alleged victim or complaining witness does not live there and is not there. So she's completely fine with it, no contact with the victim, no drugs or alcohol, but we'll be asking for the court to grant an unsecured judicial release.
All right. All right, at this time, Ms. Trucker will receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. She is to complete the one-day anger awareness course and have no contact with the alleged victim. She can return to the incident location one time with a member of law enforcement to ascertain whether or not the victim resides there. If the victim does not, she can return to that location. If not, she must stay away. She is to also have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further from the state.
Thank you, Your Honor, nothing further.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Trucker. Who do we have next?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. We have courtroom 2. We have position number 1, Mr. Quintus Crane.
All right, good afternoon. Your case number is 22 CR 006746Y, in which you're charged with operation of a motor vehicle with an expired license plate or no license plate with the offense date of October the 7th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Roberts.
He has 2 prior arrests, with the last arrest being from February 24th, 2021 for the first receiving stolen property. He does appear to have a warrant open for that case. And that case number is 21 CR 00904Y. And nothing further.
All right, thank you. Whose case is this for the state? Is it yours, Mr. Carr?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Carr.
Good afternoon.
Please give me the state's recommendation.
Yeah, the state's recommendation for this case, given the nature of the crime, we're fine with like a $3,000 signature bond. I didn't know, I know he has a bond set for that other open case for which he has a bench warrant. I'm not sure if we're going to be hearing that today or if that's, I know it's in Judge Edie's courtroom, if we're hearing arguments on that. I wasn't sure how we were handling.
I don't believe so. The only charges before me for bond today is the one that I read.
Okay, then yes, Judge, we're good with a $3,000 signature bond.
And Ms. Gant, I'm assuming there's no objection to that signature bond?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, as I was inclined to give, the defendant will receive a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. All right, is there anything further?
Nothing further from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state.
All right, best of luck to you. Who do we have next?
It's you. I'm sorry, Your Honor. What was his bond amount?
3,000 SOB through the jail.
Thank you. Next, we're gonna have position number 2, Mr. Crowley, Kylie Crowley.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Crawley. Your case number is 22 CR 006747J, in which you're charged with possession of a pistol or a revolver by someone under the age of 18 with the offense date of October the 7th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Roberts.
I'm showing this as the first arrest.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Carr, please proceed.
Yes, Judge. And in this case, as again, it happened on October 7th, the defendant was in the back seat of a car when the car got into an accident and the car had fled the scene. Everyone in the car had left, but the defendant was still around the vehicle. And a witness put him in the back left seat of the car. And when they went to the car, they didn't find a backpack. They picked it up. It had one heavy thing in it. They immediately recognized it as a gun. So, Your Honor, just because this is somebody in illegal possession of a firearm, we're asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kylie Crawley is 17 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 1 year. He has his mother and siblings, ages 14 and 16. At this time, Your Honor, his mother, Ms. Sanisha Crawley, informed me that she is residentially challenged. She doesn't have the means to pay much, if anything, toward bond. She states that she stopped working back in June of 2020 because of a work-related injury. She is not receiving workers' compensation because she was a 1099 employee or independent contractor, if you will. Therefore, she doesn't have the means to pay anything toward bond. She states that her aunt, or I'm sorry, Mr. Crawley's aunt, Sanae White, is willing to co-sign for him for a signature bond. She is, over 25 years of age. Her mother also, Mr. Crowley's mother also informed me that Mr. Crowley is pretty much a great kid. He had been bullied at school recently. He is currently employed at CVS full part-time. He tries to pick up extra hours when he can, and he often gives his check to his mother to help her to help make ends meet. His mother also informed me that she needs his support to help, with the 14-year-old. She states that Mr. Crowley helps the 14-year-old with homework and also with chores around the house because the mother's back is injured. I say all these things, Your Honor, because I'm requesting a signature bond on Mr. Crowley's behalf. He is presumed innocent, and I do understand that this involves a firearm, Your Honor. However, he has never been arrested before, no prior history, even no juvenile history. And I know that the court doesn't consider that. So I'm just asking, in light of his family's financial circumstances, that Your Honor grant a signature bond in this matter. And if Your Honor determines that he's ineligible, then we would ask for a surety bond of no more than $1,000. And lastly, Your Honor, Mr. Crowley is still enrolled in high school. He is in the 11th grade. He's an AB student. He attends South Atlanta High School, and his favorite subjects are geometry and U.S. history. And when he graduates, he plans to attend college to pursue a career in psychology. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. At this time, Mr. Crowley will receive a $1,500 surety bond. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, including the subject weapon in this case. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
Nothing
best
further,
of
Judge.
luck to you. All right, who do we have next?
We have position number 5, Mr. Michael Mitchell.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Mitchell. Your case number is 22 CR 006748B, in which you're charged with battery, family violence, with the offense date of March the 14th of 2020. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Ms. Roberts.
And Cycles, last arrest was from August of 2017 for simple battery out of College Park. He has 3 convictions: 2005 DUI, 1994 possession of a controlled substance, and then a burglary in 1993. The last arrest doesn't have a disposition listed. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Mr. Carr?
Yes, Judge. So in this case, on March 14th of 2020, the victim, Miss Tamika, if I'm pronouncing that right, it's Tumika, last name Jackson. I was having a cookout with multiple people over at her house when she got into an argument with the defendant. Miss Jackson was inside sitting on the couch when the defendant came up angry and punched her in the face, causing her to have a busted lip. Judges, given that he does have previous incidents of simple battery, things along those lines, we do believe that a $2,000 surety bond is appropriate, as well as no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, no further contact with Miss Jackson, and a stay away from that incident location. It's 4110 Pierce Road in South Fulton, Georgia.
Okay. All right, at this time, I'm going to sound for Ms. Jackson. If Ms. Jackson is on the Zoom conference and wishes to make a statement or wishes to be heard. All right, hearing none, we'll go to Ms. Cook. Ms. Cook?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mitchell is 50 years old. He's a resident, been in the Georgia area since 2003. He does have a daughter here with him who is physically challenged. He has no issues with not having any further contact with the complaining witness. And there's not a problem with not going back to the incident location, as he has a different address in Wadley, Georgia. He's currently self-employed. He has his own LLC. It's been doing that for about a year now. We would be asking the court, since he doesn't have any criminal convictions within the last 10 years, Your Honor, to give him an unsecured judicial release, which is also based on pretrial services, what they would have recommended And that would be the request from the defense.
All right, thank you. At this time, Mr. Mitchell will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He is to have no contact with the alleged victim, last name Jackson, and he must stay away from the incident location. Should he need to return, he can return one time with a member of law enforcement to retrieve any items, and he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition. Is there anything further?
Not from the state. Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Mitchell. Who do we have next?
Yeah, you said signature bond or surety bond?
That's a surety bond.
2,000?
Yes.
All right, thank you. We have
Thank
position
you.
number 6, Mr. Nichols.
All right, Mr. Nichols, your case number is 22 CR 006751J, on which you're charged with simple battery family violence with the offense date of October the 30th of 2019. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Roberts?
He has 18 cycles. Last arrest was October 6, 2022. For theft by receiving stolen property, possession or transport of a firearm by a convicted felon or felony first offender, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. In East Point, he does have an open case for possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, 19 SC 166221. A second open case for possession of MDMA with intent to distribute, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of a controlled substance and Schedule II with intent to distribute, 19 SC 166745. He does appear to be on probation out of Fulton County for possession of purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, or sale of marijuana, and possession of a firearm by a first offender, 17 SC 153683. Disposition, November 2017, 5 years probation. And he also was in felony this morning for ag assault and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. And he got no bond on that case. So that's another open case.
All right, thank you, Ms. Roberts. Ms. Harmon? If you're speaking, you're muted, Ms. Harmon.
I apologize. Yes, Your Honor. In this incident, Your Honor, the officers did respond to a domestic violence call at the incident location. The victim in this case, her name is Zakiya P. Harris, is ZAKIYAP Harris, common spelling. These parties do share a child together. The parties were transferring custody of that child, and the child was actually supposed to stay with the defendant until the following day. And during the transfer of the child, an altercation kind of ensued. The defendant did grab Ms. Harris by her hair. He punched her in the back of her head and threw her to the ground and struck her with his feet. He then fled the scene before officers did arrive on scene. The officers were able to observe visible marks and a braid missing from her hair on the concrete. Our recommendation based on the history is a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, a third-party transfer of any children, a stay away from the incident location, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And this is because we believe that he is likely to reoffend. I think the open case speaks to that. It is ag assault family violence that he was recently arrested for. It's a different victim. And it's also in addition to that ag assault charge, he's been charged with battery family violence. And again, that's a different victim in that case. And I do believe that he represents a danger to this victim with the 2017 recent weapons offense. So that's our recommendation in this case, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Ms. Cook. Oh, before Ms. Cook begins her presentation, I see that interpretation is on the line. Thank you so much for joining us. Can Ms. Gant be placed in a breakout room with the interpreter in courtroom 3? Is courtroom 3 where Mr. Escobar Paredes is?
That's correct.
Okay, so can Ms. Gant go ahead and go into that breakout so she can interview him while Ms. Cook is presenting? All right, thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Cook, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Nichols is 32 years old. He's been in Georgia all of his life. He does, while he does have a significant criminal history, he is self-employed, Your Honor. He has 6 children, 3 of which actually reside with him full time. We would be asking the court to give Mr. Nichols a reasonable bond in this case. And Obviously, no contact with the victim. He's not opposed to that. This incident occurred back in March of 2019. And that would be the request from the defense.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, at this time, the defendant did I sound for the victim? Let me do that again in case I didn't. Ms. Harris, if you are currently present on this line and wish to speak before I enter my ruling, this is your opportunity to do so. I am sounding for Ms. Zakia Harris at this point. All right, hearing none, defendant will receive a $2,500 surety bond. He is to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case and stay away from the incident location. If he needs to return to that incident location, perhaps if he has any items there, he can do so one time with a member of law enforcement. He can arrange transport of his child through a third party, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. What do we have next?
We have position number 7, Mr. Corey Poe.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Poe. Your case number is 22 CR 006753H, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence with the offense date of October the 7th of 2022. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Roberts?
First arrest.
All right, thank you. Ms. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor. This was an incident that occurred with Ayanna Bell. It's ILYANA Bell. She is actually was arrested and as a part of this incident as well, and was in felony first appearance. The parties were living together and they were having an argument about their dogs, which escalated to violence. The defendant is alleged to have pulled Ms. Bell's shirt, pulled off her necklace. He tried to pull her out of the car and snatch her to the ground. He closed the door on her legs and she kicked the door back, causing it to break. When she got out of the car, eventually he pushed her to the ground and she sustained abrasions and visible injuries to her elbows. When she did try to elbow the windshield of the car, she did leave bloody marks because she had already been bleeding. The officers in this incident, Your Honor, they really could not determine who the primary aggressor was. This is the defendant's first arrest, but this is also family violence. And we do think that he does represent a danger to the victim based on the incident details. So the state's recommendation in this case is a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, a 1-day anger awareness class, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, to stay away from the incident location, and that's 7,000 Roswell Road in Atlanta, or where they reside, if they're still residing together.
All right. All right, Ms. Cook.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Poe is 22 years of age. It's my understanding he currently resides in Sandy Springs. He's currently employed. He recently worked for FedEx and now is employed with Forever 21 at the Cumberland Mall. As you've already heard, he does not have any prior criminal history, his first time being in trouble. We would be asking, since he just recently started his job at Forever 21 and is financially kind of struggling financially, we would be asking the court, given his actually no criminal history for unsecured judicial release, he does not have any issues with not having any further contact with the complaining witness. And we would maintain that, again, he's innocent until proven guilty, and these are just allegations against him, and he maintains his innocence in this case.
All right, thank you. Mr. Poe is going to receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He's to complete the 1-day anger awareness course. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim or perhaps cross-defendant, Ms. Bell, in this case. And he is to stay away from the incident location on Roswell Road or wherever they reside. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement. Let me clarify this. Ms. Cook or Ms. Harmon, is it alleged that that is his address alone? And is there a stay away in place as it pertains to the other defendant? Does anyone know?
It's no bond order that's on Odyssey in the other defendant's case as of yet. That's why I was trying to determine where. I think we would have to inquire with the defendant. I am not sure unless Ms. Cook is.
Ms. Cook, are you aware of if he has to stay away from this location, Ms. Cook, does he have somewhere else that he could reside?
My understanding, Your Honor, honestly, is that I believe the incident actually took place in his vehicle and his vehicle alone. And it wasn't really at a specific, I don't know what the specific incident was, but the allegations took place inside a vehicle.
I agree with that, Your Honor. However, it did also indicate in the warrant that the parties live together.
Right,
So-
and that's what I'm not trying to have them return to that home together, is what I'm trying to clarify, Ms. Cook. So the question I have, and I guess I'll allow you to lead your client in just very brief questioning, Ms. Cook. If he has to stay away from that address on Roswell Road or wherever they were living together, does he have another address in which he can reside? And is his the only name that was on that lease? I guess would be the question that I have.
Mr. Poe? I see you shaking your head. Yes, you have somewhere else to go?
Yes,
Sit back, yeah, just talk.
my mother actually arranged for me to come back to my hometown after I got out of here because me and the defendant agreed to split ways.
All right.
And Your Honor, if he's returning to his hometown, can we know, is that going to be in the state of Georgia? If so, I would request again a surety bond since he'll be out of state, if that's going to be the case.
What is your address? Mr. Poe, very briefly, just yes or no. Is the hometown which you will be returning to within the state of Georgia?
No,
Where is your hometown?
Chicago, Illinois.
Ms. Roberts, if someone needs to report to pretrial from out of state, is that possible?
He can do phone reporting. He just needs to be available tomorrow to do orientation.
All right, Mr. Poe, if we grant this signature bond to you and let you out of jail, you understand that you would still have to report to pretrial services?
Yes,
And you are able and willing to do so?
yes,
All right, the $4,000 sign-on bond will stand. Please stay away from that incident location, have no contact with Ms. Bell, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he must keep his address current with the court as well as with his attorney. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further.
And he must also complete that one-day anger awareness. He's gonna have to figure that out as well, Ms. Cook.
And I realized I said tomorrow, I meant Monday, sorry.
We knew what you meant, Ms. Roberts. We didn't expect anyone to report on a Sunday. All right, Mr. Poe, best of luck to you. Make sure you comply with that and attend all those classes or else you'll be right back here, all right? All right, who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 9, Mr. Walton.
Mr. Walton, your case is 22 CR 00675-2D, and what you're charged with driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, distracted driving, and driving improper erratic lane change, each with the offense date of October the 6th of 2022. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Roberts.
He only has one prior from 2013 for possession and use of drug-related objects, and that case is dismissed. He is recommended to pretrial.
All right, thank you. Ms. Harmon?
Yes, Your Honor. This is a DUI charge. And he was stopped in the location area of Haynesbridge Road and Haynesbridge Trail in Johns Creek, Georgia. Your Honor, when the officers did make the stop, they detected the odor of alcohol. He was noted to have bloodshot, watery eyes, slurred speech, thick speech. He did do some field sobriety tests, and that did come back indicative of impairment. He did admit to the officer that he used his smartphone before he lost control of his vehicle. I understand his limited arrest history, but the arrest history he does have is 2013 drug-related objects coupled with this DUI. I do think he presents a danger to the community, even though it is limited history. Our recommendation in this case for the DUI is a $3,000 surety bond, as well as an alcohol drug evaluation and treatment. For the distracted driving, we're recommending $1,000 surety, erratic lane change, $1,000 surety. We also ask for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Cook.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Walton is 30 years of age. He has been in Georgia all of his life. He's currently employed at Koana Grill at the Avalon as a line cook supervisor. He has his employment history suggests that he's been working in the food service industry for quite some time. As it relates to the allegations, it's my understanding that he has the prior allegation of 2013, but there is no criminal conviction there. We would be asking the court for an unsecured judicial release in this case, and he is okay with the condition of no drugs and alcohol.
And Your Honor, can I just add to the record, this was actually a vehicle wreck at that incident location. So I do want to put that on the record. This does absolutely renews our belief that he's an absolute danger to the community.
And I'm sorry, Ms. Harmon, will you give me again the state's recommendation? I understood the facts. I didn't quite catch the breakdown of the numbers.
For DUI, we're recommending $3,000 surety. For distracted driving, 1,000 surety. Lane change, 1,000 surety, so a total of 5,000 surety. In addition, we were requesting an alcohol drug evaluation and treatment. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond.
All right. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $5,000 split bond, split as follows. It'll be 3,000 surety for the DUI, and it'll be 1,000 signature through the jail on the remaining 2 charges. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he's not to drive unless he has an official license issued by the Georgia DDS at this time. Is there anything further from either party?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing further.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. What do we have next?
Your Honor, we're going to courtroom 3. We completed here in courtroom 2.
All right, have a great rest of your afternoon and your weekend there at courtroom 2. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, is there a South Annex case? I would like to take that interpretation case last, if possible.
Come on up. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Before
Good
you is Ms.
afternoon.
Ector, position number 3.
Has Ms. Ector heard her rights?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Ector, your case is 22 CR 006749G, in which you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence and 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property with the offense date of September the 11th of 2022. You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say regarding the facts of the case can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney today. This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch this proceeding. Do you understand those rights and those explanations, Ms. Ector?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Roberts?
I am showing 6 prior arrests. Last arrest was March 9th, 2021 for aggravated assault and criminal trespass. The aggravated assault was bed docket. She does have a sealed first offender for battery family violence from 2018 out of Clayton County. And nothing further.
All right, thank you. Mr. Carr?
Yes, Judge. So in this case, the defendant had showed up at the victim, who is Terrence Asbury. That's TERRANCE, last name ASBERRY. Showed up while the victim had an active TPO against the defendant. They got to an argument, and the defendant ended up breaking the victim's glasses as well as bit him on the shoulder, leaving a mark. The state's main concern is that ag assault family violence that was dead docketed. It was dead docketed on March of this year, actually involved that same victim, Mr. Asbury. And then as well as that battery family violence from 2017. We do believe, we spoke to the victim, said that he's had a lot of problems with the defendant. They do share a child. He described her as coming over and destroying his home, the property within his home. So in this case, we are asking for a $6,000 surety bond, as well as speaking to the victim. He did say that they share a child. I believe he's a single father. He does need help with the child. It's the only reason we're asking for a no further violent contact is what he requested. I was in between that or a no contact and, a third party custody, but, we'll defer to the court on that. As well as a stay away from 2590 Ivy Dale Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, 30311, a 1-day anger management course, and no drugs, alcohol while out on bond.
All right, thank you. I'm going to sound for Mr. Asbury at this time. If Mr. Asbury is present on the Zoom conference and wishes to be heard, I don't see an Asbury on this line, so we will proceed to Ms. Gant, if this is your case.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Kendra Ector is 24 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area her entire life. She shares one child with Mr. Asbury, a 1-year-old. She informs me that she is the primary caretaker and that she is not receiving any child support. Ms. Ector completed high school. She also has some college. She studied early childhood education. She is currently employed in customer service. She has held that position for about 3 months. Your Honor, she strongly denies the allegation. She states that at the time that she at the time that she went to that residence, she was going there to drop her child off. She states that Mr. Asbury then proceeded to hit her and he drug her down a hill. He had her on the concrete. She couldn't breathe. And she states that his glasses were broken because she was basically trying to push his face away so that he would stop assaulting her. He further states that he pulled some of her hair out and that she sustained bruises on her finger and also on her waist. She states that his family was also there watching her scream for help. No one helped them. And in turn, her child was left there. She states that she returned the following day with the police, and the police informed her that there was no TPO that was in place. On that second day, Your Honor, on the 12th, Miss Ector was actually assaulted by the complaining witness's mother. That is a case that it's an Odyssey. Aretha Asbury. I will provide the court the case number, and also Mr. Asbury was also charged with terroristic threats against my client, Your Honor. So it appears that she is actually the victim here. I do acknowledge my client's history. However, Your Honor, a dead docket is not a conviction. So therefore, she does not have any convictions recent for violence. I'm requesting a signature bond. The report that I received states that she is recommended. If Your Honor determines that she is ineligible, I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000, and that would be $500 for each offense: battery, family violence, and criminal trespass. My client does not want any contact with Mr. Asbury. Therefore, we are unopposed to any the state is recommending no violent contact. My client does not want any contact. We are unopposed to a stay away, and Ms. Ector states that she does want Mr. Asbury to be able to see his child. So we are unopposed to any third-party transfer orders. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, at this time, defendant is going to receive a $2,500 surety bond, broke down $1,500, count 1, $1,000, count 2. She is to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. They can arrange transport of a child through a third party. She must stay away from the incident location on Ivydale Drive in Atlanta, and she is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further from the defense.
Just to read it real quick, just that she does have that ag assault family violence docketed, still open, violent against the victim, or against the victim in this case, as well as a 2017 battery family violence, just to put it out there that that's why the state was recommending this higher surety bond in this case.
All right, thank you. Duly noted.
Your Honor, is this a surety bond or?
It's a surety bond.
Thank you.
And that was $1,500 on the first charge and $1,000 on the second?
Yes.
And did you also state whether or not there was an anger awareness? I didn't quite get that.
No, I didn't require that on a surety
Okay,
bond.
no problem. All right,
Got to
thank
make the
you.
surety bond. All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything further? The state's arguments through Mr. Carr are duly noted. However, it will not modify the ruling in this case.
Yes.
Anything further from either party?
Nothing
No.
from the defense, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Best of luck to you. All right, I believe we're complete at the South Annex. If the South Annex would like to be excused, let's begin our interpretation case. Madam Interpreter, may I please swear you in? Will you please state your name for the record?
My name is Adriana Chancey, Adriana, last name Chancey, Chancey.
Ms. Chancey, do you swear and affirm that the translation you make today from English to Spanish to English will be done as accurately as you can, according to your skill, knowledge, and best of your ability?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, thank you. All right, let's begin. Everyone, please give plenty of time for interpretation to catch up. I will do my best as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Octavio Escobar Paredes, Your case number is 22 CR 006750D.
Señor Octavio Escobar Paredes, su caso es el número 22 CR 006-750D.
In this case, you're charged with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe with the offense date of October the 7th of 2022.
Y su cargo es por manejar incapacitado por los efectos del alcohol ocurrido el 7 de octubre del 2022.
You have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho de guardar silencio y todo lo que diga puede y será usado en su contra.
You also have the right to an attorney today, and Ms. Gant is available to represent you.
Usted también tiene derecho a tener un abogado y la señora Gant la está aquí representando.
Do you understand your rights?
¿Usted entiende sus derechos? The microphone is...
He's muted at courtroom 3. Is anyone at courtroom 3 to unmute him? Just for a second. Do you understand your rights?
¿Entendió sus derechos, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
Also, this proceeding is being broadcast over the internet and being recorded.
Señor, y también esta audiencia está siendo publicada en la internet y también siendo grabada.
That means any member of the public can watch this proceeding.
Eso significa que todo miembro del público puede mirar este proceso.
All right, Ms. Roberts.
Señora Robert.
First arrest.
All right,
La
thank you.
fiscalía descansa. Concluye.
All right, Mr. Carr.
And to clarify, I showed a 2006 DUI conviction. I'm not sure.
Yo estoy mostrando una convicción del 2006 por manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol, pero no estoy seguro.
Did you see that, Ms. Roberts?
Give me 1 second. I was reading what they wrote on the pretrial report. Let me.
Un momento, leeré lo que está escrito por los servicios previos al juicio.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sorry. I do show that conviction from 2006.
Sí, en corrección, sí la veo aquí a la convicción.
All right, thank you. Mr. Carr, please proceed.
Yes, Judge. Officers responded to a call of a person asleep on a 400 off-ramp.
Los oficiales recibieron una llamada por un conductor durmiendo en el costado de la autopista 400.
The defendant had his foot on the brake and the car was still in drive.
El acusado tenía el pie en el freno, pero todavía la palanca de cambios estaba para continuar manejando.
Officers smelled alcohol in his breath and conducted field sobriety tests.
El oficial pudo sentir un olor a alcohol, entonces le hizo hacer unos exámenes en el área.
And then placed the defendant under arrest for the DUI.
Y lo arrestó por manejar incapacitado por el alcohol.
The state's recommending a $3,500 surety bond. No. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. La fiscalía recomienda una multa de $3,500 y esta fianza, perdón, es bajo garantía.
No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and no driving without a valid license.
Y, one moment, please. Y queda prohibido el uso de alcohol, drogas y armas mientras él esté bajo fianza. Y tampoco manejar sin una licencia válida.
And that's it. Thank you.
Eso es todo. Gracias.
Ms. Gant.
Thank you,
Señor
Your Honor.
Paredes.
Mr. Octavio Escobar Paredes is 42 years old.
El señor Octavio Escobar Paredes tiene 42 años.
He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 23 years.
Y ha vivido en el área de Atlanta durante 23 años.
He is married and has 4 children, ages 8, 10, 14, and 5.
Él tiene, está casado y tiene 4 hijos, edades 8, 10, 14 y 15.
He completed 6th grade and he is currently employed at Trabajo as a driver.
Él terminó el 6º grado de la escuela primaria y trabaja como conductor en la compañía Trabajo.
He has been in that position for the past 10 years.
Y hasta mantenido ese trabajo durante los últimos 10 años.
Mr. Escobar Paredes denies the allegations. He is presumed innocent, and I am requesting a signature bond.
El señor Octavio Escobar Paredes niega el cargo y se declara inocente, y quiero pedir que se le otorgue una fianza bajo firma.
If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible for a signature bond, I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000.
Y si su señoría considera que no puede otorgarle una fianza bajo firma, yo pido que se le otorgue una fianza no mayor de $1,000.
As the 2006 DUI conviction is quite remote.
Debido a que el último cargo del 2016 ya es muy antiguo.
Nothing further from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Y nada más por parte de la defensa, gracias a su señoría.
I'll be accepting the state's recommendation.
Yo acepto la recomendación de la fiscalía.
He will receive a $3,500 surety bond.
Y yo otorgo una fianza bajo garantía de $3,500.
He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas durante este periodo bajo fianza.
And he is not to drive without a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS.
Y no queda prohibido manejar sin una licencia válida emitida por el Departamento de Transporte de Georgia.
Is there anything further from either party?
¿Hay algo más?
Nothing further from the state.
Nada más por la fiscalía.
Nothing further from the defense.
Nada más de
Okay.
parte de la defensa.
Best of luck to you, sir. This concludes your case.
Señor, esto termina su caso.
All right. All right, Ms. Chancey, I believe that there is nothing further. And will you please ask the defendant if he has any questions? And then if not, that's it.
Yes, Your Honor. Señor Octavio Escobar Paredes, ¿hay alguna pregunta que usted quisiera hacer? No.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. That concludes the case. And Ms. Chancey, you are free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mucha suerte le desea la jueza, señor. Adiós.
All right.
Have a
I
good
believe
day.
that concludes our entire calendar. Ms. Bridgewater, will you review it for us?
Yes. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be October the 20th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 2 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,500 good bond. Position 3 also going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,500 good bond. Position 4 reset to the SAP calendar with a $3,500 good bond. Position 5 SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 6 SAP calendar with a $2,500 good bond. Position 7 reset further notice with a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 8 reset further notice with a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. And position number 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 total split bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
I don't believe so.
All right, everyone have a good rest of your weekend.
Yes, hearing none, we are being recessed until the SCA calendar on Monday afternoon, at which time I believe Judge Morrow is presiding. Everyone take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have some fun in the sunshine. All right.
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Judge. You too.
Okay, bye-bye.